anyway, more of my story of my rich dad poor. The way my rich dad taught me, I would go to his office in a little town called Hilo, Hawaii, and we would just play. He would teach me about money, but he'd teach me to play the game of Monopoly. And we'd play the game of Monopoly for hours and hours. And I'd go home, and I'd go see my dad, and he says, "What you been doing all day?" My poor dad. And I said, "I've been playing Monopoly." He says, "Don't waste your time. Did you do your what? If you don't do your homework, you won't get good. And if you don't get good grades, you won't get a good." Must have had the same parents, huh? So anyway, then I go back to my rich dad. I said, "Why are we playing Monopoly?" He said, "I'm glad you asked, because his son was my best friend." He says, "What you're looking at is one of the best formulas for getting rich." And I went, "What? Playing Monopoly?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "There's many formulas." His instruction to his son and I, to me, is you got to find your formula, your magic formula. So I said, "Okay, what's the formula of this game Monopoly?" He says, "It's real easy. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel." And I went, "What?" So here I am, 9 or 10 years old, going, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. He goes, "Yeah, that's all there is." So then he took his son and me to look at his little greenhouses. They weren't green, but they were little houses. And he said, "I'm just working my plan. I'm just working my plan. I'm an entrepreneur." He owned hotels, small hotels and restaurants. And he says, "I own real estate." I said, "Okay." So I'm an entrepreneur and an investor. I said, "Good." So then 10 years later, I went to school in New York. I came home from school in New York. I was 19 years old, and my rich dad had his big red hotel, smack dab in the middle of Waikiki Beach. How many people have been to Waikiki? Good. Not a bad place. But if you ever look at the hotel called the Hyatt Regency, rich dad owned all that land under there, and he started with nothing. So when I'm 19 years old, I'm going, holy mackerel. So what they did was he basically tore down his hotel, sold the thing and all this, and that's when the Hyatt Hotel came up. But at that point, I knew I'd found my formula, my magic formula. So today, I'm going to be talking about your education because I am still an educator. I'm just like my poor dad. My dad was a great teacher. But I'm more what I teach, what my rich dad teaches me. So that's what I'll be talking about today. A little bit more of my background is, it is ironic today that I am best known as an author. I'm not really an author. I'm a person who writes books because that's part of my business plan. Every great organization has always had a great book. The Bible, the Quran, and stuff like that. They always had great books. So that's why I started writing books. I also created the first thing I did was create the cash flow board. How many people have played the cash flow board game? Good, thank you. Please play it as many times as possible because repetition is how you learn. One of the most stupid things about school, who knows what the most stupid things about school is that keeps people stupid and poor? They tell you not to make mistakes. How in the world do you learn if you don't make mistakes? So the reason I come and talk to groups like yours, I love the direct sale business, because you're in here to make as many mistakes as possible. If you make mistakes in the corporate world, you get what? And in this organization, they want you to go out there. They want you to go out, fail, 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 and win. Fail, 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 and win. That is how you win in the real world. The people who do not do well in this type of business are people who went to school who think, I can't make mistakes, I can't fail. You know how stupid that is? I played football in high school. They have a thing called practice. You go to practice for 4 or 5 days. You practice 3 hours. Practice is where you make your mistakes. You mistake, 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 mistake. Then you go and you play one game. You come back, watch the films again, watch your mistakes, correct, 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 make mistakes again. It's called practice. In the theater, it's called rehearsal. In law and medicine, it's called, the doctors and lawyers call it the business of practice. They still suck as lawyers and doctors, but they practice on you. So I'm here just to get one message from me today. The only reason I stand up here is because I had a rich dad who taught me how to fail, how to make mistakes, period. And the reason I'm wealthier than most people, especially my A student classmates, I make more mistakes than they have. Everybody understand that? Hello? The more you fail, the more successful you become. But most people don't have the guts, so they quit. So please, you're in the right place at the right time.